Hi, my name's Valerie, and this is my garden. I spend a lot of time working in my garden, and I probably grow maybe at least 80 to 90% of my own fruits and vegetables. So I'm going to show you what I have in my garden today. I have blueberries. These produce a lot of blueberries early summer. To my left, I have a beautiful flower garden, and I try to raise both annual and perennials in my garden. Our yard was chosen to be the bee pollinator garden on the tour that they have every summer in Ashland. And that's because I try to raise plants that are for bees and butterflies and birds so that everyone has something that they need to help them survive. So a lot of the things you see are meant for bees and birds and butterflies. And so that's what this garden over here is. This garden is an herb garden, and I raise a lot of different kinds of herbs, basil, rosemary, thyme, and I raise a lot of greens. I have spinach, kale, collard greens, chard, and I keep that rotated all summer long so that I have greens going all the time. This year I experimented with heirloom tomatoes, and I have at least 25 different varieties of tomatoes. More tomatoes. I have okra. My family is from the south, and my mother loved okra, so I grew up on okra. So I have several varieties of okra, and I have a lot of bell peppers. So this is okra, bell peppers, and tomatoes, which like to grow together, and they do very well. And going further down the garden, I have a large artichoke garden. We love artichokes, so I probably have maybe 20 artichoke plants. So they did very well. I probably had at least 100 artichokes this summer, a lot more than I really need, but it was really fun growing them. And these are more varieties of cherry tomatoes. And I've also planted in with the artichoke strawberries all the way down this entire bed. And we probably had baskets and baskets full of strawberries. And this is something that comes up every year, and we enjoy them a lot. And over here to my right, I have more okra, eggplant, bell peppers, and I plant a lot of marigolds and nasturtiums in my garden because that helps keep the bugs away, and it really does work, along with garlic and onions. I had green beans, but green beans, they come earlier in the season and then they go. And here I have something really unusual. This is a squash that I got from Baker Creek. It's called Candy Roaster. It's one of the most beautiful, unusual squash that I've ever tasted, and they're just about ready to harvest. To my left, I have 3 peach trees and a Fuji apple tree, and they were just loaded with peaches this summer, and we really enjoyed them. I gave a lot of them away to the neighbors. And also over to my right, we have a grape arbor, and it's white and purple grapes, and it goes all the way down the whole length of the garden. and we got lots of grapes from it this year. This is a pomegranate tree, and it hasn't made pomegranates yet, but they say that it will next year though. So I'm really looking forward to seeing a pomegranate. And this garden, this is more bell peppers, tomatoes, and I had carrots planted all through this as well. My cucumbers are doing beautifully. I've trellised everything to keep everything up off the ground. And to my left is a golden delicious tree, and it makes the most delicious apple pies, and I make apple butter with it, and it's usually absolutely loaded with apples. To my left is an apricot tree, and the apricot tree was absolutely loaded with apricots, and I froze most of them. And because we're up a little bit higher, my apricots don't freeze like they do down lower. You would think it would be the opposite, but they don't. They produce just abundantly. And this huge tree is a fig tree. It's a brown turkey fig tree, and it is absolutely loaded with figs. And again, we eat figs off of this. I give buckets of them away to the neighbors. And this tree to my left is an Alberta peach tree, and it had a lot of peaches. This was a wonderful year for fruit trees. The fruit trees were all absolutely loaded with fruit. And here you can see some of my heirloom tomatoes. And this is a pineapple tomato. It absolutely is delicious, and it's huge. It gets absolutely huge. And I've probably picked at least 20 of them off of it already. Again, basil. We use a lot of basil. I grow a lot of basil. And over to my right, I have an orange tree, and it's loaded with oranges. And I have a lemon tree, a Meyer lemon tree next to it. And in the winter, I take these two trees in and I put them in my greenhouse, and they produce lemons and oranges all winter long. And again, everything that's planted here is with the bees and the butterflies in mind.